So Carla, thank you for doing this interview again.
Hi.
This is our second time. And I wanted to do this interview because I wanted to deep dive into your coaching practice because I felt like the first time I did the interview on my podcast, we didn't really get a chance to expand on that. So if it's okay with you, I'd really like to just really dive in.
Yeah, let's go. But
Okay.
before we get started, I'm
All
really,
right.
really happy to be talking to you again.
Okay.
I follow you and I love how you ask questions and you make people feel so comfortable. I think you're amazing and just keep it up. I just wanted to get that out of the way.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'll receive that. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Would you consider yourself a therapist?
I don't. I'm not a therapist, but I understand why
Mhm.
some folks would think I am based
Right.
on a group that I have called Coaches Quarter Shyness Prohibited. I'm I'm talking about a lot of subjects in there that are
Mhm.
deep,
Mhm.
and that's my goal. It's to get folks to engage in deeper thought. So you won't catch me saying who wore it better. Not that there's anything wrong with folks who are
Right.
saying that, but it's just
Right.
not something that I find engaging for this group that I have. So many folks will think that I'm a therapist because I'm talking about I think it's the content of what I'm talking about, but no,
Mhm.
I'm not a therapist. I'm more of a self-discovery coach.
So, is a self-discovery coach like a confidence coach?
No, but again, I can understand why folks will think, oh no, it's about confidence. Because
Right.
when you know yourself,
Right.
right, when you feel comfortable with who you are,
Mhm.
it brings out the confidence, right? Because I know
Mhm.
confidence isn't something that we're born with, they say. Right? I
Right.
mean, I think something different, but that's what they say. We're not born with it. And
Yeah.
so the more that we find out more about ourselves and are comfortable with ourselves, the confidence shows itself. So I can
Mhm.
see why folks will say, "Oh yeah, are you a confidence coach?" Because I do focus a lot on being assertive. But I focus on being assertive through who you are naturally.
Mhm.
So I
Okay.
get to the natural you. So, Michelle, you're looking at me like you're still confused.
Yeah. You know what? Not confused, but I guess I wanted to see. So then, what is your point of view on confidence? Because I've heard that too. I've heard that we were born naturally confident, but then we lose our confidence through just like life, right?
Right. And actually, they say the opposite of that. They say we're not born with it, it's something that develops,
Okay.
right? But
Okay.
I mean, I disagree though. I think we
Right.
are born with it. I think it is an innate thing inside of us.
Yeah, I
And
agree
it
with you.
comes out the more comfortable we are with ourselves,
Right.
right? But
Okay.
I find that our personality is big. And we
Mm-hmm.
have so many different facets of what makes us who we are,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, there's biophysical, so your genetics.
Right.
There's environmental, so your parents, your teachers, the music, all that
Right.
kind of stuff.
Right.
Um, there's uh, there's emotional anchors. Say
Mm-hmm.
good things that happened to you. Say you got married, that's a positive thing. Say you got a
Mm-hmm.
divorce, that's a negative thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and your self worth, that's another thing. So, there's so much to our personality. The thing that
Mm-hmm.
I look at as a coach, I
Mm-hmm.
look at your personal style, and
Right.
that is what comes natural to you. How
Mm-hmm.
do you usually respond to, say, time?
Right.
Um, yeah, like how do you respond to your environment? I look at things like that. So I look at your behavior, I look at
Right.
your cognitive, your how you analyze things, how you interpret information. I
Right.
look at how effective you are. So how do you express yourself? I look at your interpersonal style. How harmonious are your relationships with people? So
Right.
I look
Okay.
at those different details, and I look at what's comfortable to you, what's natural to you, not you comparing yourself to, say, other people and say,
Right.
copy what your parents did or what
Right.
your siblings did.
Right.
I want to know, who's Michelle? What does Michelle do on a regular basis? You know,
Right.
when nobody is looking, what is Michelle doing? And that's why I use these assessments that I use.
Okay. And do you only help women?
No, I also I help
Okay.
well, to be politically correct, people who identify as men. You know, I have a broad base. As a matter of fact, when I first started, I was helping a lot of men. You know, I was assisting a lot of men with self-discovery, and I find that men in our society,
Mm-hmm.
they don't have the comfortable space, especially Black men. And I know I'm probably going to get flack for that, but they don't have, they're not allowed the space to be who they are. And
Right.
so I
Yeah.
find that when I did the assessment with them, they were the ones that were most grateful. So anyone can get satisfaction out of these assessments, I find.
Okay. And what's the youngest demographic that you'll work with?
Because the researchers that did this assessment, because they used ages 14 and up, I stick with that.
Okay.
And so I try to make it consistent. I don't want to go any younger than that just because they didn't actually assess them. And so, yeah, I stick with ages 14 and up.
Okay. So I know that you can't speak about your clients because it's like the sessions you have with them is confidential. But
Yeah.
can you speak on what is the most common issue that you help your clients with?
I would say the most common issue is just being stuck.
Okay, feeling
Being
stuck or
being stuck and not being able to move forward. So
Mhm.
having some sort of tunnel vision where they're
Mhm.
so stuck and focused on this problem in their life that they don't see a way out of it.
Mhm.
You know, they don't,
Mhm.
they, so you know what? This is the perfect
Yeah.
way to put it. I help them discover the glue.
Mhm.
What is that emotional anchor that's keeping them where they are? And I
Right.
don't do this by, say, diving into their past and staying there like what therapists do, right?
Right. Right.
I do this by giving them a snapshot of who they are at
Mhm.
this very moment.
Mhm.
Why are they behaving this way? What is comfortable to them?
Right.
Right? And when you show folks, okay, what is comfortable for you, they're like, oh my gosh, I do this. They
Right.
see, okay, no, it's not that bad. That's just me. Maybe
Right.
that person you're dealing with that you have, say, difficulties with in your life, they don't interpret information like you. You
Right.
know, they look at it from a very different lens,
Mhm.
but it doesn't mean that they're against you. You know, I
Right.
find some of us, we tend to think, okay, this one doesn't see it our way, so they're
Mhm.
against us.
Right.
Well, that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes they don't see it that way because they don't interpret it the same way you do.
Mhm.
You know, so I find just moving folks forward by just showing them who they are, showing them what their strengths are, and
Mhm.
showing them what areas they might want to improve.
Mhm.
And what I find with folks, and I don't mean to go on, I'm kind of talking a lot, but what I
Mhm.
find with folks and what I hear a lot, and I'm going to get flack for this too, on your
Okay.
weaknesses, work on your weaknesses. And when I think about it, why? Why
Right.
are we working on weaknesses? Why aren't
Right.
we appreciating our strengths and just
Right.
working with our strengths? Yeah, of
Mhm.
course, if our weakness is something that is affecting our life in a very negative way, of
Mhm.
course you're going to want to work on it. But
Right.
pick up your strengths. You
Right.
know, celebrate your strengths and
Right.
focus on them and move yourself forward. You don't have to just dive into working on your weaknesses all the time. I think that's something that we say often, but I don't know if there's real value in your life if
Right.
you're constantly working on your weaknesses. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, so then once you help your clients work on their strengths and show them who they are, how does this benefit them in their everyday life? Like, what are the changes that you see in them?
Well, the change that we hope to see in them, because everybody is different,
Mm-hmm.
the main thing is they find value in whatever they're doing at the moment. So, say if they're in a job that they don't like, you know, they start to find value in that, or they really start to work towards a career that they really want,
Right.
right? Or the relationships in their lives. They don't take stuff, say, as personal, because they know when they're communicating with somebody, it's not always about them. Sometimes
Right.
it's about the person you're talking to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they start to open up their world a little bit and
Yeah.
accept new relationships in their lives based
Mm-hmm.
on the different people around them. They don't get bogged down in, if this person doesn't think like me, I can't talk to them. You know,
Right.
they're
Right.
more, they more appreciate themselves, so they're gonna
Right.
they share themselves more. And when you
Mm-hmm.
appreciate yourself, that's exactly what happens. You start sharing yourself in a very different way, and so it comes across that you're more confident. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you're just more comfortable. That's all.
Right. And how does a person focus on their strengths?
By knowing what they are, by being
Mm-hmm.
aware of them. You know, you bring them to the forefront of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you an example because I did the assessment on myself.
Okay.
And one thing that came up for me was social intelligence, right?
Okay.
And yeah, so that was at one end. That was a very strong end for me. And one that wasn't was gratitude, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
not a grateful person
Right.
naturally,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I have to be intentional with my gratefulness. And so what I
Mm-hmm.
did, and I've shared a video, is that I do things now to trigger it. So before I get off my bed in the morning, I say 10 things that I'm grateful for,
Right.
and I sit in that moment of gratitude for a while. Because I
Okay.
know that we say a lot, be grateful. But what we don't tell people is that this is actually a personality trait. We
Mm-hmm.
all have that in us. We have different intensities, different
Mm-hmm.
degrees. So it
Right.
just comes out differently. So sometimes
Right.
you'll think, oh, this person is so ungrateful. But
Right.
that's because they're not expressing it the way that you want them to show gratitude, but they could
Okay.
have their own way of doing it, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so I have to be very mindful of that I'm not one to express gratitude the way that maybe most people would express it, or somebody with a higher degree of it than me. And now I
Mm-hmm.
don't want you to think that these assessment pigeonholes you, because it doesn't. We
Mm-hmm.
understand that environment, biophysical, a self-worth,
Mm-hmm.
emotional anchors, so stuff you might be carrying around, all these things play a part in who you are. You're spiritual, that's the biggest one,
Right.
right? Your belief system is
Right.
the biggest one. Now, it doesn't have to be, say, religious. When I say spiritual, some folks think I'm just talking about religion, but I'm not. I'm talking
Right.
about what you believe in your mind,
Mm-hmm.
right? That makes up who you are. And so
Oh,
if you
okay.
are aware of all these
Yeah.
little nuggets, you move yourself forward in a way that you draw people just to you, right?
So wait,
Because
okay,
you're
so wait,
not so focused on all
right.
these people and making
So
them happy.
are you trying to say that our spirituality is what we believe in?
Yeah, well, your spirituality is your belief system.
Right.
So
Okay.
some attach it to religion,
Right.
right? So some are Christian or Muslim. That's their belief system, and some attach it to nothing,
Right.
right? So
And
they
that's their
and when
spirituality.
you sometimes when you open yourself up to say you don't
Right.
have a belief system, sometimes you believe anything that comes your way because you
Right.
don't have a set, say, belief system, right? And that's what makes us whole is our belief system, which is your spiritual sense, your again your emotional anchors, your social teachers, your
Right.
environment. All
Right.
these things make you who you are. So if you're not taking, say, the time to discover who you are,
Right.
that's when you're going to run into problems because you are running around trying to have all these external things tell you who you are, and you can't do that. It has to come from
Yeah,
within you.
100%.
Sorry, it has to come from within yourself. So
Yeah.
social media, a book, all these things is not going to tell you who you are. You got to figure it out. When you figure it out, you're going to walk with a certain pride that nobody can stop you, right?
That's right. And I want to get back to your coaching practice because if people don't know, you put on a lot of content on all your social media handles. And I had the pleasure recently, aside from you just making me realize that my spirituality is my belief system right now, like I'm going to process that off camera. But I believe
Oh,
it
I
was,
love your language, Michelle. I do.
girl,
Process. Eh?
yeah, no, I'm gonna digest
Process.
it. I'm really going to adopt it because my spirituality, I always thought my spirituality was tied into Christianity because that's how I was raised.
Mm-hmm.
But then I had to take like a moment from going to church to figure out my own system, right? So on Saturday, I think it was Saturday that I saw the video when you said that we are loved. And that blew me away because I was a person that grew up always believing that I was unloved because, not all of our beliefs are true,
Right.
right? Some of
Yeah.
them are just byproducts of the way we were raised or, like you said, our environments,
Right.
right?
Right.
So can you talk a little bit about that, and then I'll get back on track to your coaching practice?
Talk about the
Like,
content
what do you mean when you say that we are loved?
because we are born into this world,
Right.
right? The very fact that we are even born is a blessing. You're an adult, so you understand the process of us being conceived and being born. And
Right.
so when we come out, whoever's hands we're in, we are love.
Mm-hmm.
That person can enhance the love that we already are, or
Right.
they can sometimes help take it away. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not blaming that person either,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because they're going by whatever was given to them.
Right.
So wherever your mom or your dad was in life, that's where you're meeting them.
Mm-hmm.
That's their stage in life. And
Right.
so as you go through life, you pick up all these experiences. Sometimes they're negative, right? And it slowly takes away from the love that you have. You're born 100% with it, with
Mm-hmm.
love,
Right.
right? And then things just happen around you, slowly take it away. By the time you reach a certain age, you're like, man, I have no connection with it. You can't
Right.
feel it because you're
Right.
not feeling it with your foundation. You're not
Right.
feeling it maybe in the environment that you're in. You
Right.
start to move away from it. And so, how do
Right.
you get back to it? Is by
Right.
discovering who? You, right? And once you discover yourself, that love comes all back to you because you're love already, right?
Yeah, because doesn't this world teach you that love is outside of yourself? It
Yes.
teaches you that you have to like earn it. It teaches you that you have to go get it. Like you have to go get apples at a grocery store. Like I'm not even sure. You know what I
Right.
mean? And
Yes,
it's like we're
and what happens is that we are looking for external things now to give us that love. You
right,
know, when you talk to folks, sometimes they don't even know why they want, say, that brand new car or
right,
this brand new outfit, or they start to attach themselves to things because we're humans, right? And
mhm,
that's what we're gonna do. We're warm-blooded vertebrates.
mhm,
We're into physical touch,
right,
gentle vocalization. So we
right,
are gonna find a way to get these things in our lives.
right.
And if we feel that we say lack love in any way, we are going to spend the rest of our lives trying to find it. We will.
Externally.
And we
Mhm,
won't stop until we either destroy ourselves or we
mhm.
actually find it. It's one way
Exactly.
or the other.
Yeah, because people only treat you the way you treat yourself, right? So
Mhm.
that's what I've learned. It's like the more I treat myself better, it's like the more I won't tolerate other people treating me badly.
Right.
And you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
I totally agree with that. I think we train people how to treat us. So
right.
if somebody is not treating us the way that we don't want to be treated, you have
Right.
to think, okay, how did I add to this? And see, folks don't want to sit down and they don't want to think about that.
No,
When
they
you bring
don't.
it up to them, they, oh, why are you blaming me? It's not all my fault. Look at what I did for my child. And they'll start naming things. Or
Yeah.
if you're talking to a child, they'll tell you, well, look how much I did. Look, I did this and that. But at the end of the day, who was
Mhm,
looking in the mirror? It's
mhm.
you.
That's
You're
right.
responsible for how people treat you. And
100%.
again, getting back to self discovery, once you know yourself,
Mhm,
right? Once you're comfortable with your strengths and the areas that maybe you're not that great at,
right.
you move differently.
Mhm. Okay, so if somebody wants to sign up to your services, do they have to pay each time they see you, or how does that work?
Well, I have packages. I do
Mhm.
have individual sits, you could call it. I do have individual ones, but I always recommend going with a package
And they're not
because I
expensive. I
I
went on their website. They're actually not expensive. Like you have these
no.
packages of 6 sessions. Like
Mhm.
they're very affordable.
They are very affordable, and the reason why it's hard to say just do one, because one chat is usually the free consultation, right?
Mhm.
And after that, we start the process, we start the assessment, we start the goal setting, and then we plan an end date.
Mhm.
But it should be in a package form, three or more is what
Right.
I say most people need. And that's how you can tell too, I'm not a therapist. Usually therapists, it's open-ended. You don't know how
Right.
long you're going to be with that therapist. A coach,
Right.
we always have a start date, and there's always an end date.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
Again, you can visit my website, www.carlahelpsnow.com.
Mhm.
Or I'm on social media. You can always reach out on Instagram at Summary of You, or you can try Facebook at Carla Helps, or just look for my name. But I'm out there. You'll find me. Or join
Yeah.
my group, Coach's Corner Shyness Prohibited. Now it's not coaching, but it's definitely thought provoking.
Yeah, it's definitely asked a lot of questions that you don't normally in your
Yeah,
day to
I'm
day.
a nosy one. I'm a nosy one, Michelle.
Well, you know what? This world's a better place, honestly, Carla, because you're in it and you're doing what you're doing. So thank you again for agreeing to do this for me. I just really wanted to expound on your services so people really understood, because I might get flack for this comment, but I really feel like, especially within the Black community, like within the Caucasian community, they invest thousands upon thousands of self-development money into themselves.
Yeah.
They invest on coaches, they go to conferences, and I'm talking about like habitual, you know, and it doesn't have to be somebody, it could be like a doctor, or it could just be an administrative assistant. Like, they know the value of investing in themselves in this regard. I'm not saying there isn't people within the Black community that do it, but I don't see it as widespread, if that makes any sense.
No, you're absolutely right. And I think it's something that we definitely need to look at, because the Black community, we do pay out a lot of money in other areas. We spend trillions in, say, cars or clothes or a lot of things that are external.
Right.
But maybe we need to start doing some work and putting some internal stuff into ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Let's start looking at the values and how we can, say, raise up our communities in different ways.
Yeah, because there's no point in looking fierce and you're insecure inside. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, your inner being has to match the beauty of everything that's outside. And there's even like I think a Bible verse on that, where it calls on the women to not just be ornamented with like gold bracelets and the nicest of frocks, and I'm paraphrasing, right? But that who they are on the inside should be a reflection of who they are on the outside. So and we're not trying to say that there aren't white people that are not insecure. We're not trying to do that, right? But the thing is, it's like to get everybody on even playing fields and investing in themselves. So Carla, thanks again for doing this interview. Okay, I'm sure it's not going to be the last time we talk. Yeah, it won't be the last time, girl. We'll definitely do some lives or something in the future, okay?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Bye.